Hey everyone, this video is going to be regarding sweat guards. A lot of people have questions and concerns about whether they should get a sweat guard or whether or not they should get a sweat guard on their holster. So the sweat guard's intention is just to stop sweat from getting on the metal slide of the gun. Very simple. So one other portion of the sweat guard I've seen in training, some people will use the sweat guard as an indexing point for a reholster. What I mean by that is they'll find the holster, the sweat guard portion of the holster, and then drop the gun into the holster, right? And that makes sense to me. So again, an indexing point, and then you know where your holster is, right? Especially if you can't see your holster, for instance. So again, you're reholstering, you're finding that sweat guard, and then you're placing your holster back in then you're placing your gun back in your holster. So it makes sense. This is a holster without a sweat guard. It does not have a sweat guard on it at all, right? So there's nothing covering up the slide. So let's talk about some of the other pros for a sweat guard. Right, a lot of guys may not wear a undershirt, so they want something that is a barrier, a less abrasive barrier to their body, their skin. And the Kydex isn't a bad option. I mean, it's still hard plastic, but it beats like the slide serrations on this Bodyguard 2.0. There's slide serrations on my Hellcat Pro. For me, if I can wear an undershirt, if I'm carrying appendix, right, I'm probably gonna wear an undershirt because it's not necessarily the serrations of the slide that are uncomfortable to me as much as it is the stippling of the gun. And a lot of guys love an aggressive stipple. The Hellcat Pro has a nice aggressive diamond texture that they came up with. And it's awesome for the hand, but it's not so awesome on the skin. So if I'm gonna carry appendix, I'm probably gonna try to wear an undershirt, or I may just wear a shirt with a hoodie over it, right? That's when I'm wearing appendix carry holsters. However, a lot of the time I'm going to carry a 3 or 4 o'clock position, so I may or may not wear an undershirt. The point is depending on how you carry the gun may help you decide whether or not you want a sweat guard. If I'm carrying appendix, here's where I get a little messed up with sweat guards. I'm carrying appendix and I get into a gunfight. That gunfight is dynamic. I do not want to bend down and have this thing poking me in the stomach, right? A lot of guys don't think about what the gun holster is gonna feel like with the gun out of the holster, right? You're gonna be kneeling, you're gonna be running, you're gonna be getting prone, right? So I don't want that thing stabbing me in the stomach if I'm wearing an appendix holster. That being said, if you're getting a holster maker to make you a holster, you better hope that they round these edges out and smooth them down as best as they can, or else it's going to be nasty on your stomach. In that case though, if I'm wearing a non-sweat guard on my appendix holster, and this is just me again, I'm not gonna have the same issues, right? Because if I come out of the holster, right, I don't have the same issue. This is not stabbing me in the stomach, and I have a little bit more mobility because the holster is not super high up on my stomach. So that's just the thing to consider, right? If I'm wearing it in the 3 or 4 o'clock position, the sweat guard doesn't hinder me. It doesn't hinder me at all because I'm not bending backwards, right? It doesn't make anything harder for me to move or anything like that. So just some factors to consider. So big question, do you want a sweat guard? I've never had a gun rust so bad because of sweat or anything like that. And I've carried appendix for a long time. I don't really carry appendix as much anymore. But it kind of goes back to, do you care about indexing the holster? It kind of goes back to do you really care about indexing that holster on the holstering? For me, if I'm reholstering my gun, that should be the slowest part of the gunfight because everything's over. If I'm putting my gun away, I'm gonna take a breath, take a breather, look around, and I'm gonna look down at my holster, right? And I'm gonna gently place my gun in my holster. because I don't want my shirt going in my holster with my trigger guard and having an ND. I don't want to miss my holster or anything like that, right? So it's gonna be the slowest part of my my entire gunfight if I get into a gunfight. So I don't really care personally about a sweat guard. I could take it, I could leave it. If I'm wearing appendix, I probably don't want one. That's your decision to make. I think that you should be knowledgeable on what a sweat guard is and what it does, what it doesn't do. It doesn't prevent the rest of the gun from touching your body. So with that knowledge, I hope that you get the right holster. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're looking for a decent holster, and yes, I will round out your sweat guards, check out Lethal Engagement Solutions. There's going to be a link in the description, and pick yourself up a holster. Thanks for watching.